And I'm back. It's 10:02 p.m. I stayed here longer than I was honestly planning on, but yeah, Trey was here doing karaoke. He's still doing karaoke in the in the back patio area. Careful, I'm back into that redneck's truck right behind me. I have not been to this bar in a long time, and I've really missed this place. And the funny thing is, I don't look nearly as out of place in here as I used to. I'll never forget the first time I ever came to this bar. By the way, I'm at Rooster's Country in East Mesa, Main Street, just east of Val Vista. Yeah, a little outside my regular stomping grounds, but I've been in the valley a long time. I'm like over 50 years in the valley, and I know people all over. And I've been coming to that bar, I want to say, since 1990, 96, 97, somewhere in there. Hang on, gotta adjust the phone mount because that's sloppy. Even as bad as the camera is with it shaking, I can still center it better than that. Anyway. Never forget the first time I ever sang there. And that was long before Trey hosted there. In fact, it was long before Trey became a karaoke host. And I kind of want to talk about how I know Trey, because that's a pretty amazing story as well. And I love the fact that Trey has been hosting for a long period of time, like pretty much full time. Like he's working, I think, 6 nights a week there at Roosters, and they take damn good care of him. But I don't remember who the host was when I first went there. In fact, I don't even really think I understood what a karaoke host was back then. I mean, I guess I did, but I didn't really understand what all they do. But long before I was a karaoke host, that's for sure. But, ooh, there's an open Taco Bell. I need to eat some food. I have not eaten enough today. We got some new sandwiches, by the way, in the break rooms at Amazon that are pretty decent, but they're kind of pricey. But still a better deal than the sandwiches we had, so there's that. Anyway, I want to say it was like 1996-ish. Right around the time I started driving for AAA cab. Yeah, God, I've drove for so many cab companies over the years. It's been about a year and a half since I was a cab driver, and my last stint as a cab driver didn't go well. And I was vlogging during that time period, but you have to really dig through the roughly 980 some vlogs that I've done. And it's actually more than that when you consider the ones that are split up into separate parts, but still retain the same number. But oh, F that line. That is way too long of a Taco Bell line. No, not doing it. Not doing that. I just know the bar I'm going to doesn't have any real food. I need to do better than pretzels. Of course, I could have got food there at Roosters, but I didn't have much cash on me. Oh shit, that reminds me, the bar I'm thinking about going to right now doesn't take credit cards, and I'm down to like probably less than $1 of cash. I had this totally awkward moment with the bartender at Roosters, because I really didn't want to run like a single beer on a credit card, because that's just silly. But I didn't have much in the way of cash left, and at this point, like, I've got mostly, well, not mostly, but I had like to pay for it, I needed to dip into the dollar coins in my pocket, which I got when I bought my my transit pass when I was in Tempe yesterday. I had a $5 bill, and I was trying to use that on the machine, and the machine just would not read my $5 bill, so I ended up having to use a 10. $2 for my bus pass, so I got $8 coins and change. Which I like dollar coins. most people, particularly cashiers, absolutely hate them. Hey, it's money, deal. But anyway, if they were all gold dollar coins, ooh, that rally, there is a Rally's here. I thought there was a Rally's around here. Yeah, if it was all gold dollar coins, like, it would have been easy. But in the mix, I had one Susan B. Anthony, and in the dim light of the bar, I couldn't for the life of me tell whether that was $1 or a quarter. And I'm trying to look at it close enough to be able to tell. And the bartender's like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you." She seemed kind of annoyed, and I'm not trying to be annoying. I just literally could not tell in that dim lighting if that was $1 or a quarter, and I didn't want to give her a quarter. I wanted to give her $1. And damned if I wanted to run a card for $6. So anyway, yay, Rally's is open.
Welcome. What can I get you today?
Yeah, I want to get 2 fry liver burgers.
All right. Would you like single or double?
Singles.
Okay.
That'll be it.
Thank you. I'm finalizing your order and getting your total. $6.26. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please pull up to the window and have your loyalty rewards and payment ready.
And the car just stalled out. So Rob had the car, worked on it, well, tried to work on it today, and he said he drove it and it absolutely didn't stall out at all with him. And it doesn't always do it with me. It generally just does it when it's cold out. But yeah, there he goes, doing it again.
Hello.
Hello.
2 fry liver burgers.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
626.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been to this particular location that they've had the AI taking the orders.
All right, here we go.
Right on. I gotta admit, I'm still very impressed by the automated voice order taking at Rally's. It's a lot better than a lot of the voice activated phone systems that I have to interact with. In fact, a lot of times when I'm trying to make a payment on something via phone, I just get so frustrated with the voice, the thing that's supposed to interact with my voice, just not comprehending what I'm saying to do, or just being difficult, that sometimes I just deliberately speak absolute gibberish, trying to frustrate it to the point that it'll transfer me to a human operator, which sometimes ends up not being that helpful, because I end up getting transferred to somebody with such a hard to understand foreign accent that it's almost as bad. But anyway, that's just the world we live in today, is what it is. But yeah, I feel like my interaction with the Rally's voice, I'm assuming it's some kind of an AI, but whatever you would call it, the robot that takes the orders in the drive-through at Rally's now seemed to get my order right.
Right here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Oh, come on, start card. Anyway, Rob said he'd take the car back on Monday and he'd run it through emissions for me and make sure that he gets the check engine light off and gets it through emissions, because my tags are just about expired. I gotta take care of that. And maybe, just maybe, he'll get to it early enough when it's cold enough that it'll stall out for him when he starts it and stops it. I tried to explain that it you know, it's like the car was running perfect. I'm like, yeah, generally speaking, the car does run perfect. And the only time it does it is when you first start it, when it's cold, and you come to a complete stop. And then it idles a little low, and sometimes it stalls out. But yeah, I think that by the time he got around to checking the car, it was in the afternoon, and it warmed up to like 60 something, and it doesn't do it if it's that warm out. It actually has to be cold. Not that I have any idea how cold it is right now outside, but it is a little bit chilly. And I need to be enjoying that as much as I can, because the sweltering heat is mere weeks away. Once it gets hot here in the summertime, it doesn't let up for a while. You have to pardon me, I gotta eat these burgers, I'm freaking hungry. So, I'm trying to explain about the first time I went to Roosters. So it was when I first started driving cab for AAA cab in the this guy opposite me, his brights are so light, his lights are so bright, it's hard for me to see oncoming traffic. It amazes me how along Maine, Mesa has such impressive looking bus stops with such unimpressive service. I don't even think the bus is running on this street right now, but the bus stops sure look nice. Anyway, I want to say like 1996, working for AAA cab, and there used to be this local newspaper, like free newspaper, ad-based paper, called the Fast Lane. And basically what the Fast Lane specialized in was the happenings at dive bars, as well as advertisements for dive bars. Specifically, pool tournaments, dart tournaments, karaoke, cover bands, and that was pretty much it. But they really focused on karaoke, and they would sponsor these karaoke contests that were valley-wide, and if you turn to the very middle of the paper, which is super easy to find, you know, because newspaper folds, you just unfold it right in the middle, and then also the next page, because it took 3 full pages of the thing. And this is the main reason that people that I knew would grab the Fast Lane. It had a valley-wide directory for karaoke. Every bar and every restaurant that did karaoke, and what day and what time, as well as the phone number for the bar, so you could call and verify that they were still doing it, and, you know, before you drove a distance. And I used to keep one in. There's no those fancy bus stops. I love those, all that fancy green lighting for no bus showing up. I think on Saturday it shows up like once an hour. There's the little bar I'm headed to. Almost drove right to hell past it. From what I understand, this bar is owned by one of my friend's aunts, or something like that. At least it used to be. G-Bar-G Lounge. It's an interesting little dive. Probably been here over 50 years. And very much an older kind of redneck crowd in here, but I always have a good time when I come in here and sing. Oh shit, I forgot I gotta go to the bank. and get money because I have no cash and they don't take cards here. And I have no idea where there's an ATM around here, so I'm gonna have to use my phone to figure that out, and I'll be right back. Man, I really should have checked out while I was at rallies, because apparently when I was at rallies, I was really, we're stalling out again. Grr. When I was at rallies, I was right next to either a Wells Fargo bank or a Wells Fargo ATM. I just did a search for Wells Fargo ATMs. And I didn't see one, although admittedly I wasn't particularly looking for one. I'm a little bit closer to another one, so I'm going to try to head to that other one. It says there's one on the southeast corner of Power and Main. Head over that way. And there's the fancy bus stop. It's fancy green lighting. It has no bus service right now. It just kills me when cities will spend that kind of money on a fancy looking bus stop but can't be bothered to spend money on actual bus service. On that note, I did have a hell of a bus ride, hell of a nice bus ride from, and I was gonna shoot video on it, at least part of it, between Amazon, when I got off work at Amazon, and Rob's shop where I picked up my car. But was chatting with a forklift driver from day shift that occasionally comes into night shift and will pick up overtime shifts on night shift. His name is also Daniel. That's pretty cool. I was chatting with him and then a couple of his friends from day shift. After work, and when I rolled out of Amazon, I realized I had my earbuds in my pocket, and popped them in and turned on Amazon Music and went to play Death Cab for Cutie, Narrow Stairs. And the last time I tried to play that album, in fact, I even showed it on my vlog. I remember putting it up like here so y'all can see the button. The Amazon Music app wouldn't let me play the album. It just wanted to shuffle the songs. That shuffle function on an album I should be able to play is just really, really frustrating. And have I emailed Amazon about it? Of course not. That's just way too much effort, right? But anyway, I scrolled through and the play button was actually there, so I started listening to that album and just absolutely was enjoying my earbuds and my music, and just listened to my earbuds the entire bus ride, which was actually pretty easy from my Amazon warehouse over to Rob's shop. I just walked south on. Not sure if I'm at Power yet. I don't reckon. I am at Power. Like, I kind of know this area, but I come to East Mesa so infrequently that I know the streets and I know the layout, but I don't tend to recognize all the landmarks. Is that a Wells Fargo ATM in this strip? Oh. I might need to stop the video and look at maps again, because there's Dollar Tree. Yeah, the location of the Wells Fargo ATM is not jumping out at me. burgers from Rally's are absolutely hitting the spot. I really wish Rally's had more locations around the valley, because I really, really like their burgers. So much better than yeah, I think that's the bank right there. So much better than Burger King or McDonald's. Not particularly fond of McDonald's for anything other than their sweet tea, to be honest. Okay, I'm thinking this is a Wells Fargo. Hey, look at there, drive up ATM bonus. All right, I'm gonna stop this and I'll be right back when I got some cash. So that ATM entrance was a little awkward, but it was shut up, car. It was awkwardly convenient. Definitely gonna remember that one. Not like I spent a lot of time in East Mesa, but as East Mesa goes, this is pretty convenient and centrally located right here at Power and Main. So I got to backtrack 2 miles to get back over to G Bar G. I can't come this far and not swing by G Bar G for karaoke. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure if they do karaoke on Friday night, but I'm about to find out. If they don't, I'll just ask them what night they're doing karaoke and thank them and roll on. Because there's quite a few places I'm wanting to try to stop at tonight. And G Bar G wasn't even on the list, but as soon as I was pulling out of, well, before I started my video, but as soon as I got in my car and I was thinking about going to some place up in Phoenix, which I'm quite far from, but I'm just trying to get back towards that side of town, I thought, you know, I thought to myself, damn, I'm close to G Bar G. If I'm clear the hell out here, I gotta at least swing by G Bar G. So, as I mentioned, that bar, if not now, at least it used to be owned by either an aunt or an uncle, or maybe both. A friend of mine named Matt, whom I've known for, God, probably 14 years. And I haven't talked to him much in the last year. And that makes me feel, wow, it's a Mo-El. That makes me feel bad. I'm bad at keeping in touch with friends. I really am. But we've had some good times together. And one time he had me and Priscilla meet him out here. He's like, "Hey, you gotta come check it out. It's a little shithole dive." I can't remember if it was an aunt or his uncle or maybe both that owns it. But and really not our kind of a crowd, but we still had a really good time there. And I've come there with her and then by myself several times since, and I've always had a really good time. And sometimes I've walked in there and people have looked at me funny, like, you don't look like you belong here. But I ordered a drink, and usually I can find something to sing that vibes well with the crowd, that surprises the crowd, because it's not what they expect someone that looks like myself to sing. And usually a really good time over there. But yeah, I do remember I went there once before and I didn't have shit for cash on me, and it was like, oh, we don't take cards. And I do think they have an ATM there, but it's one of those mystery ATMs where it's a complete mystery what you're going to be charged for fees when you use it. Which is not my idea of a good time. So. Probably should have just ran that with everybody else, but kind of trying to make the most out of this drive and finish my burger. So anyway, I was trying to explain how it was that I first went to Roosters. So anyway, back in the mid '90s, I was driving for AAA cab. The fast lane was a thing in their karaoke directory, and mind you, this is before most people even had internet, let alone mobile internet on a device in their pockets. So people relied on printed directories quite a bit, and by far the most comprehensive one for karaoke was in the fast lane. It took up 3 pages of a paper that was only about 10 pages itself. So anyway, and this was shortly after the first time I'd ever done karaoke and decided, wow, I actually really enjoy this, and didn't realize I could sing so well in front of people. And I'm wondering if I just drove past it and didn't see it. That was Higley, and I'm thinking, gee, Margie is right past Higley. Right before Higley. It's such a small bar, if I'm not paying attention, it's easy to drive past it. And it's been so long since I've spent any time in East Mesa that I don't... Like, I know all the major streets out here, but I'd be hard-pressed to recite them in order at this point, like I used to be able to. I used to be able to recite them in order and get the 100 block of each one. And at the moment, I can't even remember the 100 block of power. That's not good. Yeah, I think I totally passed it. And it was right before Higley, and I just drove right the hell past it. And I can't see what street this is. Greenfield. I was thinking it was Greenfield. I am so far out. There's the Taco Bell. So far outside of my regular stomping grounds right now. Actually, I think Greenfield is where the bank was. Or Greenfield is where the Greenfield University is where the Rallies was. I think the bank, now that I'm thinking back on the map where the bank was actually at Val Vista University, I think. I can't believe I just drove right by the G-Bar-G just like that. I absolutely didn't see it. Anyway, so the fast lane has karaoke listing. First bar I ever stayed, before I went back to driving cab, my license was suspended, so that kind of stopped me from driving for a bit. At least I think that's what the deal was. It's a long time ago, it's hard to remember. But I was, I think my license was suspended. I do remember driving during that time period. Anyway, for quite a while I worked at a Subway restaurant. It was located at 59th Avenue in Peoria. And then I also DJ'd and did other work. There it is, right there. Did other work for the Great Skate roller skating rink, which is at 43rd Avenue in Peoria. It's a little bit south. And the first time I ever sang karaoke was at a little dive bar very near the Great Skate. And I really enjoyed that. And it wasn't too long after that that I started driving cab again for AAA. I mean, that was the first that I had driven for AAA, but that was when I had started driving cab again. And it was around that time that I discovered the fast lane in their little karaoke directory. And a lot of times, I mean, on the weekends, of course, you know, busy as hell as a cab driver, but a lot of times on the weekdays, on the weeknights, I mean, you know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and occasionally on Thursday, it would get really slow, especially between the hours of like 9 and 11, 9 and midnight. And what I started doing to help pass the time, rather than just cruising up and down bad parts of town, hoping that somebody would flag me for a cab and not rob me in the process, is I would, wherever my fares took me that particular day, and I just drift wherever my passengers take me. So I could, you know, by like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I could be anywhere from Apache Junction to Sun City West to Buckeye. But once my calls would stop, I'd open up Fastlane and try to find the closest karaoke bar to me that was doing karaoke that night that I'd never sang at before. And I was putting little dots next to each one to indicate that I had sang there once. And one night I just happened to be in East Mesa at about 9:30 at night or so when I ran out of calls. And the closest karaoke bar to me was Roosters. Now, I had picked up passengers at Roosters before, and I was well aware it was a very redneck kind of country bar. And I walked in, and I was probably, I'm going to say 25 years old at the time. Had hair a good solid 5-6 inches past my shoulders. And dressed like I belonged in a 90s alt rock band. And yeah, I didn't look like I at all belonged in that bar. And the average crowd at Roosters at that time was, I want to say 50 plus. Old rednecks. And I walked in there and they're looking at me like, just with a lot of contempt. And I'm like, well, I want to sing some karaoke in here and check this one off the list. And I've always been very well-rounded musically as far as the stuff I listen to. I've had so many influences as far as what I'm into in music since I was a toddler. That knew the music that people were singing, as soon as I walked in. I'm kind of evaluating the crowd. And what I ended up singing, I only had to wait about 4 songs to sing as well. And I did my regular. I walked up to the bartender. I'm like, hey, just so you know, here's I drive for AAA cab. Here's one of our cards, and obviously I can't be drinking and driving a cab, but you know, pay you for a Coke and I'll tip you good for it. And the bartenders are always pretty receptive to that. And so we're out of calls right now. I love to sing. But they were kind of looking at me like, why did you pick this bar to sing in? You don't look like you belong here. They didn't say that, but that was certainly the looks I was getting. And I sang, God, the memories are so, for a guy that forgets like what he did 10 minutes ago and forgets where the bar is located that he just was at, memories are so vivid. But the guy who was sitting by me at the bar was just kind of mean mugging me like, what are you doing here? And I sang King of the Road by Roger Miller and just absolutely nailed it. And at the time, the stage where the bands sing is what they were using for karaoke. And I think it was running through the same sound system that the bands used as well. So the sound was very, very good, but you kind of had to get up on a stage. And I think it was a wired mic, too. You didn't have the option of kind of hiding in a corner with a wireless mic. You had to get up on the stage and own it. And I got up there, and I'm looking out at a crowd that's looking at me like, why are you here? And they're, God knows what they're you know, they're waiting for me to sing some hair rock or some alternative rock or just something that they don't like, some hippie crap. And I break out Roger Miller, King of the Road, and just nailed it and got so much applause. And when I got back, the guy that was sitting next to me, mean bugging me at the bar, was just like, that was, I didn't expect that. That was really good. And then I sat and talked music with the guy for probably 30 minutes. Told him about listening to records of my grandpa. And it was a really good time. Anyway, that's been one of my favorite spots for karaoke ever since. It was definitely one that I came back to even before Trey was hosting there. Anyway, on that note, I'm wasting time. I need to be in G-Bar C singing a song and having a small beer. I got way too many spots for me to go tonight, for me to have a big beer. And hopefully, the gal who's been texting me tonight will text me back soon, because she seemed interested in karaoke bar hopping with me tonight, although she's clear the hell over near Metro Center, so it's debatable as to whether I'll get back to the part of town she's on at any kind of reasonable time. But who knows? Maybe I'll click with some people here and decide to hang out here for a while. And I'm back, just rolling out of G-Bar G Lounge. It's 11:18 plus 4 minutes, so 11:22. My car dinging for no reason. That's what it does. You know, every time I come here, it's it's such an old crowd, and mostly old country that most people have forgotten about. And I actually really love that kind of music, and I own just so many old cassettes and records and 8-tracks of that kind of stuff. I mean, I grew up listening to that kind of stuff. First couple of radio gigs that I had back in the mid 80s were at AM country stations. So it's not something that I sing very often, because at most karaoke bars, if I sang that kind of stuff, people would just be wondering why I'm singing that crap, you know, I'd just be lost in the crowd. But every time I go in there, I always manage to think of something really kind of forgotten and kind of random, and the elderly crowd that's in there just loves it. But anyway, I just sang, and I believe it's the first time I've ever sang this song. I sang By the Time I Get to Phoenix by Glenn Campbell, and pretty much nailed it. I mean, granted, that's a song I think that's a song that I've known since I was probably 3 years old, and pretty sure I got that at home on vinyl. I would be shocked if I don't have that at home on vinyl. I don't have the complete Glenn Campbell discography, but I have most of it. Actually met Glenn Campbell a couple of times, and got to see him on his last tour when he was touring on his album Ghost on the Campus in 2011 at the Nokia Theater. Took my mom to see him. My mother also loves Glenn Campbell, and it was just something that had to be done, and I'm so glad we went. It was such an amazingly good show. Yeah, it's not very often I have a crowd I can sing a Glenn Campbell song with that would appreciate it. And I don't know why that one was stuck in my head, but it just it was some person who's probably in their 70s singing an old country song that I didn't recognize, but for some reason it made me think of By the Time I Get to Phoenix. And at first she's like, oh, we stopped at 11. I'm like, oh, I drove so far. And to be honest, I really only drove 2 miles to go there from Roosters. But as far as from where I came from Amazon was a long distance. And even, you know, where I'm coming from home was a long distance. And let's not forget all the extra driving I did trying to get a couple burgers and some cash, and then doubling back because I overshot the bar by a mile going down Main. But wow, where am I at anyway? Higley and Brown. I think the strip mall on the right, or on the south side of Brown, there was a karaoke bar that actually ran an ad that they were looking for a karaoke host with their own system. I went there and interviewed for it. I did not get the gig, but anyway, I'm not even looking for karaoke work right now. I've pretty much decided that in order for me to be willing to take on a karaoke gig, it needs to pay more than what an overtime shift pays at Amazon. And granted, karaoke is about a 6-hour thing, whereas an Amazon shift is about a 10-hour thing. But as I've often told bars that have tried to haggle with me based on how long the show is, I don't charge by the hour. I charge by the night. Whether I do a 10-hour, whether I do a 2-hour show or an 8-hour show, I only get one night. And doing the show is fun for me. So the longer the show is, the more I'm going to enjoy it anyway, generally speaking. The work is setting it up and tearing it down. So yeah, I'm well aware that working a shift at Amazon is more hours, but the reality is that I'm only able to do one thing on a given night, and that's work an overtime shift at Amazon or do a karaoke show. And I'm not going to lose money doing a karaoke show at this point. It's just not worth it to me. I've got goals, and those goals are basically pay off all my consumer debt and fix up at least 2 of my cars. This Saturn and one of the CRXs. And at some point I'd really like to own a house again. Now granted, that's completely out of the picture the way the housing market is here in Phoenix, but hey, who's to say the house has to be in Phoenix? Anyway, so tonight's goal was karaoke bar hopping, and that's kind of happened. I'm kind of shocked that it's almost 11:30 at night and I've only been to 2 bars. And granted, I could maximize the number of bars that I go to by trying to go to something here in East Mesa, or Mesa in general. But I could even go farther east, because I know of some karaoke bars in Apache Junction. But I want to start motivating myself closer to home. The gal that did want to go rolling with me tonight, it's probably been about 45 minutes since she's texted me back, so I'm thinking that's probably not happening. And I'm kind of disappointed by that, because she actually messaged me tonight. I haven't really been messaging her that much lately, just because it was, I don't want to say it was feeling one-sided, but I don't want to say it didn't feel like it wasn't going anywhere, but it kind of felt like it wasn't going anywhere. And I figured, well, she'll message me when she messages me. And she did. When I was at Amazon working a random day shift, I want to say she messaged me around 4 o'clock-ish. And of course I didn't see it because I was not paying any attention to my phone at all. In fact, I think at that point my phone was probably on the Southside Docks leadership table on the charger, because it was dead by the time I showed up to work and like recorded it 8:45. I'm surprised I'm not tired yet, but I did sleep quite a bit on Thursday. So, and I don't have to be to work until Sunday night, so I don't really need to worry about, I don't really need to worry about what time I go to bed, and when I do go to bed, if I'm exhausted, I don't need to worry about what time I wake up. So that's a comforting thing. So, gosh, I was thinking about going to the Ox Bar, or not the Ox Bar, the Oz Bar. Been a while since I've been there, but sometimes they shut down as early as midnight, which is about what time it would be by the time I would get over there. So, being that it's been about an hour since I've heard back from the gal that was wanting me to come pick her up and go bar hopping with me tonight, I don't see much purpose in heading that far north and that far west. I may as well head towards bars that are closer to home. I'll be honest, I kind of just want to go to Water Inn. That's my local watering hole, and I absolutely love the sound there, and the host there, and the bartender there. And the only thing that's been marginally uncomfortable about going there lately is that things are not so great with Priscilla and I, and most likely she's going to be there. So the odds of me finding good times with another woman there are pretty slim. Not that they're particularly great at Osbar, since every guy that goes into Osbar is just assumed to be gay. But not sure what other spots I was thinking about going to. I mean, there's so many karaoke bars in the valley, and I've been kind of out of the loop for a while. I mean, for the longest time, pretty much my life was just my show on Thursdays and Amazon every other night of the week, with occasionally a night that I'm not working over at Water Inn. And about the only diversions I've had from that as far as karaoke has been Osbar and the Hideaway. Of course, I could go to the Hideaway. I know karaoke will be happening there until 2 a.m. In fact, I got an invite to the host's birthday party. I want to say a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I didn't go because I was getting my overtime over at Amazon. I was offered another overtime shift today, but looking at the hours, I'm like, yeah, I'm not committing to that. That's just ridiculous. And I don't know who's putting in the shifts like that, but it was like a random 3.5 hours in the afternoon. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I forget what time it starts, and if 2 hours before that shift, it's still sitting on the A to Z app, and I'm awake, I might drive over there just to work 3.5 hours. Because yeah, it's overtime. I'm getting time and a half, and I'm 3 raises in, so it's definitely worth my while. But it doesn't seem like enough to commit to and set an alarm for, and so on and so forth, when I have no idea when I'll be going to sleep or when I'll be waking up. I'm kind of enjoying working tonight. So I was going to mention what happened with Priscilla last night, and what happened in general last night. So, as I had stated earlier, Thursday morning, got home from work, and I was just exhausted. I probably fell asleep within 10 minutes of being home. But I woke up at about 9:30 in the morning-ish. And I did shoot a video after that. fact, I shot a very long video, which I've already edited. I'm just waiting until I get on my home Wi-Fi because it's going to take a while to upload. Partially because it was exported from iMovie, and for whatever reason that always makes the file way larger, and it's almost an hour and a half long. And of course, by the time this gets posted, that will have already been up. And I got a feeling it probably won't get watched very much, because I've noticed when my videos get over 45 minutes long, they don't get nearly as many views. Which you know, maybe it was better when all the segments were uploaded as separate videos, but I don't know. I kind of like having them all kind of grouped together into one long video. And if it's boring to you, you can always skip forward. Oh goodness, am I getting tired? I just yawned. Yikes. Yeah, pretty much I got up, brought my car to Rob's, and then I walked to downtown Tempe, and that's where my phone battery died. After that, I took the train to 44th Street, walked up about 3/4 of a mile 44th Street, took the bus the rest of the way up to Oak, and went to Costco. I don't think I mentioned I went to Costco. I went to Costco. Of course, I was on foot, so not buying much at Costco, and I wasn't particularly hungry, so I didn't do my usual of hot dog or pizza. But I did get got a big old thing of cheese. I got the Tillamook sharp cheddar cheese, and I got these beef sticks. I forget the brand name and what they're called, but they're really good, and it's a pretty good size package because it's Costco, of course. It's a pretty good size package. But it kind of felt weird just buying like beef sticks and cheese, and my total being like $23. Which is because that's a lot of money to spend on beef sticks and cheese. But then again, for the quantity that I got, it was a really good deal. Which pretty much describes all shopping at Costco. But I tried to use my Costco credit card and it was declined. That's a little disturbing. I know there's an app for that, and I really need to get that app installed on my iPhone and start being diligent about knocking that balance down. Because I do have credit cards and credit lines. I've been throwing large chunks of cash at with every overtime paycheck, and the Costco card is not one of them. So obviously that's what I need to. Just because, like, it's not like I have to use that one to purchase stuff at Costco, and I've got other means of purchasing stuff at Costco. But whenever I use something other than that card, the rewards are not nearly as good. There's a lot of perks as far as discounts and cash back, credit back, what have you, for using a Costco credit card at Costco. Yeah, I ended up having to use another card. And of course I was using the self-checkout, so the whole experience was super awkward. But I made it through it. After that, I went home and had one of those beef sticks, and by then I was tired. I fell asleep. I know I woke up. I want to say I woke up at around 8:30, and I know I uploaded another one of my videos. And I was thinking about going out, but I looked at how cold it was outside. I had the thought of trying to walk, bus, or take a scooter anywhere with it that cold out. Just wasn't particularly appealing. Going to Wander Inn and Priscilla being there also not so very appealing. And I just ended up laying in bed. What? watching and listening to YouTube videos. Oh goodness, I am starting to get tired. Yikes. Watching and listening to YouTube videos, and fell asleep pretty hard. I do recall Priscilla texting me probably about 9:30-ish, maybe closer to 10. And I was still up at that time, but only kind of barely. And I remember her asking me what I was listening to, and I told her the sound of my heater fan, because I didn't have any music on. I was mostly watching. Ugh. Yikes. Mostly watching YouTube videos, and also farting around on Reddit. And at the moment when she texted, asked what I was listening to, I wasn't listening to anything at all, but I could hear the fan. I could hear the fan on my air conditioner. It's like, yeah, I can see the fan on my air conditioner. I could also hear one of my cats climbing on boxes in front of the closet. Anyway. Yeah, I told her that, and I forget if she responded or whatever. I think at that point I just rolled over and fell back asleep. And the next thing I remember, it was probably 2:30 in the morning, and she was tapping on my bedroom window. And I appreciate the visit, at 2:30 in the morning. I do. But the fact that she showed up at 2:30 in the morning pretty much tells me that she did go to the bar and stayed there until it closed. And by the time the bar was closed, she didn't want to go home alone. Didn't want to go home with anybody else. I guess that's a good thing. I guess that makes her a slightly better person than I am. Maybe. But anyway. Not that I would be thoroughly bothered by her doing that at this point. I mean, I'm pretty convinced she was doing it, a year ago. And songs over at Trey's show over at Roosters. First one I did was oh my gosh, the big breakthrough hit from Jelly Roll, which I guess he's got another hit now. I know I've heard it a couple of times and I can't think of the name of it. Trey definitely mentioned it to me when I said Jelly Roll. He's like, oh, he said the title of it. I recognize the title, but I can't think of it right now. In fact, at this point in time, I can't remember the name of his first hit, but it's the one. It's the one that's chorus starts out with the lines, "I'm a lost cause." So, anyway, with that crowd, I expected that song would go over better than it did. But now I'm really having second thoughts about going to Water Inn. I am legit feeling very tired. Because after Priscilla left, I really haven't been to sleep since. So. I sang the Jelly Roll song, and then I sang Simple Man by Charlie Daniels Band, which is one of those songs I've sang so many times, but that one's always fun. It always gets an interesting crowd response if it's the right kind of crowd, and it's definitely the right kind of crowd. Hey, not the Popo is here. That makes me very glad I came here. A couple weeks ago, somebody posted this guy's former police SUV at Band-Aid's Lounge, and I mostly know the guy that owns this through his girlfriend or fiance or whatever she is at this point. I can't help but wonder if she knows that somebody posted online a picture of his vehicle in front of Band-Aid strip club. Good times. Gotta love the internet.